So, welcome back to our video. In the last video, we tested out the dragon animation. What it does once this loads is when I press B, he does the breath attack. When I press T, he does the tail attack. Now in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take and automate that and change a few things up. We're also going to, if there's time, make it teleport between a few points around the arena. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our Dragon Boss attack, our Dragon Boss script. And let's see, what do we need still? So we're going to go ahead and add a few variables, right? We're going to create a state machine through code. So, and it's going to be called boss state. It's going to have 3 states. The reason why it's only going to have 3 is because this unfortunately does not have movement animations for this boss, which is why we're going to do teleporting for its movement, because at least then it won't be as boring as the boss just kind of like standing there not doing anything. We've added the states, we've set the current state. We're going to add another header, and this time it's going to be called state timing. And this is going to be our public float idle duration. I'm going to set that equal to 2f. Private float state timer, and that's going to be the name of the timer that we're going to set, or the creation of the timer. In our start function, we're going to leave all this right there, but right above it we are going to set the state timer to be equal to the idle duration. And let's see here, what do we want to do here? We're actually going to get rid of everything in our idle animation, or in our idle, not idle animation, in our update function. And we're going to say, actually, we're going to get rid of all this stuff right here. And next to, we're going to get rid of that exclamation point. We're going to say if it's attacking, then return. And don't do anything yet. But then we're going to set the timer to start counting down. So this is don't change the state if attacking. And then that's what this one's going to do. Put this one coming up is going to be the timer countdown. I feel like I should be playing Final Countdown, the song, during this part. Maybe I'll find like a 3-second clip. I don't know. Or just imagine it in your head. That way nobody comes after me for copyright. There we go. There we go. I just cannot type today. Idle. And we're going to add a function that we haven't created yet. So that's going to throw up some errors for right now. Just work with me. It's going to be alright. We'll get through this. We want boss breath. And then we want case boss state.tail, enter idle state, and break. Alright. So what we did here is we told it if it's attacking, don't change the state. Then we set the timer. Oh, I didn't set the timer. Why didn't I set the timer? I sure didn't set the timer to count down. Whoops, my apologies. State timer minus equals time dot delta time. There. Alright, so let's try this again. We told it if it's tracking, don't change the state. And then we're also telling it to set the timer to start counting down. And then here we're going to tell it to switch the state once the timer gets to or less than 0. We have a couple of functions that we need to create, and we're going to create those next. Those functions are choose attack and enter idle state. So that's what we're going to do here. Actually, I guess they don't need to be public, right? They just need to be because they're not going to be accessed from another script. We're going to first tell it to pick a randomly attack between breath or tail, and we're going to do that with a boolean. So I'm going to choose boolean if the random.value is less than 0.5. And if it does pick the breath, then switch the current state to the breath and trigger the breath attack. Otherwise, we're going to say otherwise by using else. We're going to set the boss state to tail, and we're going to trigger the tail attack. Let's see. There's that. And then we need to do the idle state, so void enter idle state. And this one's going to be very simple. Current state is going to be equal to the boss state dot idle, and then we're going to reset the state timer, just like so. All right, now we don't need to make any changes to the trigger tail or the trigger breath, but we do need to add one thing over here. And that's going to be a nice little delay before it transitions to the idle. So alright, let's save that, go back to Unity, and press play. There's the breath. It switches the tail, breath, idle, tail, tail, idle, breath. Alright, so that's working. We're good. Alright, where are we at? We're at just under 9 minutes. So yeah, let's go ahead and, so like I said, this does not have a movement animation with it. So what I decided is I'm gonna just have it teleport around the ring. So create mono behavior script. We'll call this boss teleport, and that's gonna open up. Minimize that because we're gonna need to drag this over. So before I start coding, a couple of things I want to do. I'm going to actually disable this circle collider 2D, and I'm going to instead copy it and paste it over here, and then turn it on, because the way I'm going to code this, it's only going to flip the sprite, which means the tail will stay the same. or not the tail, the collider, if it's on the boss dragon, it'll stay the same. And so then there'll be this like invisible wall that you can't get to the boss from because the collider have stayed in place on the parent object. So I'll probably turn this into the trigger when we do the damaging the player and damaging the dragon ones. So from there, let's see. We're also gonna need some points. So I'm gonna create an empty object. I'm gonna say boss teleport alpha and duplicate that twice. This one is gonna be Bravo. This one's gonna be C for Charlie. And let's go ahead and move these up a little more. We'll put A on the left, we'll say right there. C on the right, we'll say right there should be good. And B will stay right there in the center. Alright. Now, let's open up our code and get to it. So we already put the boss teleport on the dragon script, so let's just double click and open that up. And we're going to need to do a few things up in the variable section. So if you want to add the headers with me, then I'm adding one that's called teleporting. Teleporting, not teleporting. We're going to create an array. They're going to be called teleport points. Then we're going to create a cooldown so that it's not just constantly teleporting. We'll set it for 5 frames for now. We'll see how that works. Alright. Now we're going to have another one. We're going to call this references. Whoa. So this is going to be, I'm going to name this visual. No, we're going to say boss visual. That's what we're going to say. So this is going to be the boss sprite. And then, let's see. We also are going to need a timer. So private float. Actually, no. We'll make it public just in case we need it. Teleport. Public. Float. Teleport. There we go. Timer. Alright. And we are going to have a fixed Y. Just with how I'm going to type it. Or I want to be able to adjust it though. So public. Float. Fixed Y. And for now, we're going to set it to 3. And then we'll adjust it in the editor as we need to. Actually, we may not need to. Hold on. What is my dragon at? So, is that negative 0.05? I might be able to actually do that from there. If I put it, say negative 0.05 F, and we'll see what happens. That might be too small. It's too small. Let's go 0.5. Alright. That's what we'll do. And then we'll adjust it as necessary. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tell it to find the player Let's see. That should work. Why does that? Why don't you like that? Not sure why you don't like that, but that's fine. We'll do it a different way. We're gonna do this and throw this check in here. What is going on here? Player equals game object dot find object with tag player. And it does not contain a definition for transform. But you do, because you're the game object and you're the player. Oh, I know why. I put game objects and it needs to be game object with tag. That's why. My bad. Alright. Alright, teleport timer is going to be equal to the teleport cooldown. Let's see. If the player is equal to null, then we're gonna return nothing, but otherwise we're gonna start the timer. Oops. Apparently I took that parenthesis with me. And when the timer we're going to tell it, we're going to do a few things. So teleport to random point, even though they're not really random because we set those points. We're going to tell it to face the player. Both functions we got to create, and then we're going to reset the timer. So that's all going to be done in the update function. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create those two functions, and then that should be it for this video. So void teleport. Yeah, I'm just going to copy this. Void, and then boom. And then there we go. Alright, and what we're going to do is if teleport points. Wait, hold on. Did I not add them? Oh, I don't know how to spell teleport. Teleport points. There we go. Why? Dot length is equal to 0. Then don't do anything. Now we need to override the y value manually is what we're doing next. So transform.position equals a new vector 3 and so point x, fixed y, and point z. That'll fix that. Now we need to create the face player function. So it looks like somebody is up and watered, and the dog gave the dogs water, not watered them. They're at plants, and also let them out. So that's one less thing for me to do. Alright, if boss visual is is equal to null or the player, just some checks, right? And don't do anything. Otherwise, we're gonna do a thing, and that thing is transform.position.x. Man, so many mistakes typing today. This video is gonna be long, mostly just because of those mistakes. Alright. Is greater than the player dot position dot x. We're gonna change the visuals local scale, make it equal to a new vector 3, and instead of doing -1x and then +1 y and z, just because of the way the boss is facing already, we're actually gonna switch that, so it's gonna be facing right. And otherwise, we're gonna just copy this, so select it all, paste it here, and change this to -1, and then it'll be facing left. Alright, let's go ahead and save all this, because we're already at 23 minutes. Alright, so now what we need to do is set all this up. We're gonna create our 3 transform points, A, B, C. The order is irrelevant because it's going to be choosing them randomly. Let's set up our references. Let's see, we want the player, we want the boss visual, and we want to press play. Alright, so there he is, he's attacking, he transported, he's a little high up, so we need to fix that right there. So let's see where he's at if -1. Alright, it looks like he might be good now. Yeah, it looks like he's good. We could probably bring it down to like 1.1 or 1.2 even. And see, let's see. Oh yeah, 1.1 is fine. So, but there he is. Alright, he's teleporting around the ring. He's not facing the player though, which is a little odd. He should be facing the player. He's only facing left, so let me see that real quick. Maybe I do need to have it -1 and 1. In which case he'll be facing left and right. You know what? I put local position, it should be local scale. That's why. So let's put these back the way they were. -1 scale. Alright, now let's go back. There we go. Alright. There's that. There's that. There he goes. Now we're cooking. So, alright. Now that that's working, we're gonna be good. And actually, we don't even need to adjust it because I forgot about the -1 on there. But he actually kept it pretty local to the ground. That's why he was up in the air, because I put position. Yeah. So, alright. So that's it for this video. It was long. I apologize for all the typing errors and the length of it. In the next video, we're going to get the boss hurting the player and the player hurting the boss. But until then, keep learning, keep building. I'll see you in the next video.